work to do still on the top, but for the interest of videotaping these fairly quickly, there's a few things I want to show you about the bottom and clean up towards the edge. Towards the end, excuse me. I've got hair that I'm starting to get figured out, I've got facial features, but down here at the bottom it just kind of stops. And people have a tendency to get focused here and forget about here. But right now, what is she? You know, what's going on down here? She kind of just ends. And part of that, I've got some width here, which is going to help with stability. But part of that is I haven't thought about it much. I want to, before I'm done, start thinking about what kind of clothing, or not, she's wearing. If she's wearing clothing, I really need to get some lines in here. You are making 3D sculpture, and so yes, you could draw in the clothing lines later, but you're sculpting. You're making this have some thickness to it. And so I think it looks more thought through, more intentional if you go in and give yourself some edges of clothing. Even if those edges are relatively simple, even if the focus stays up here on the face. So I am using my wooden rib, just because this is a technique I like to show you. It's pretty simple. I'm doing this, I'm not spending a ton of time getting this shape exactly right, but I'm getting a sense of the one part of the clay being on top of the others. It's not the one I meant to have. So I'm smoothing this edge so that I'm going to come back through with a not rough rib later on. But this rough rib allows me to very quickly move some clay. Not quite as much as with the paddle, but I can fairly quickly get the clay closer to the depth that I want it. Different texture, but similar depth. With this rib, I can kind of push this back in here so it looks like this clay of the shirt is over the top of her, the rest of her. Now I may also want to add a little bit of height to her shoulders. And again, look at people around you or look at books, pictures of people. If you're working on a portrait of someone, I recommend having several pictures of this person that show not just the face, but the shoulders, and not just from the front, but from the sides, from the back, so you can get a sense, so that you can refer to something as you try to give your person a sense of some depth. For this particular piece, I'm not going to do a lot of detail down here, and I'm not going to get even very specific about what happens kind of below the neckline. But the neckline makes it seem like she's wearing clothing rather than she's just a lump. Right? One other thing I want to focus on down here. This piece is going to have to, so I've built this up in basically a day, and with some breaks for videos and things like that. But she is going to, has some more work I need to do around the face and things like that. But the other thing is, when she's done being built, when her shape is what I want it to be, she's going to have to dry out. Her surface needs to get leather hard before I can cut her apart, get rid of the armature, take away the extra clay. But when I'm done, or as I'm working, I'm going to take her off of this board. You can see I've got some paper that I've been working on. But notice here, when I've been smoothing clay into those places, I've ended up with clay that gets really thin down here. And this thin clay down here is going to cause me issues later on, because as I pick her up and move her, that's going to chip. So if I get a bevel here, and I can use, sorry, I'm a righty, so I'm going the wrong way here, as I can use a wooden knife or a wooden rib or a metal rib, I can get under here and give her kind of a bevel cut underneath. That does two things. It gets that extra clay cleaned up so it's not going to rip. It also gives her a nice visual ending. So she's a bust. We know she doesn't continue underneath the table. This is a stronger, visually a stronger way to end her, to finish her at the bottom, but also a physically stronger way to end her because it's not going to rip. You can, I'm doing it real quick. You can come back, take some more time, get in there with a knife. You can also get in there with a rib and kind of smooth that edge. Also, when you take her apart, you can work on that. But that helps kind of finish her off visually and physically strong. Thanks.